What we know right now is that there are many changes going on throughout the U.S. economy. We know jobless rates and the new jobless claims. Those numbers came in this morning. I want to address what's going on there. We're going to talk about an IRS announcement. What the IRS is saying they are going to do to start with their $80 billion of new funding. And again, it's some major changes happening there. And also there's a major shift happening when it comes to shipping and truckers. I want to address what's going on there, and I will also fill you in on who qualifies for how much relief when it comes to student debt forgiveness. I've been getting a lot of questions on that. That's something that a lot of people are very concerned with. Can they now go to school and get that debt forgiven? Well, I have the answers for you in today's video. So let's get started right now. All I ask is if you enjoy these daily uploads, do me a favor, go ahead and hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Now, for a second straight week, U.S. jobless claims, they fell. Now, it wasn't a huge decrease, but they continued to fall. This week, we saw 2,000 less people apply for unemployment. Now, you're probably thinking, well, that's good. That means we continue to have a very strong labor market. And we do. The number came in at 243,000 people. Here's the reason why this is a problem. Some economists believe that due to the $10,000 student debt forgiveness that was announced yesterday by President Biden, that this is actually going to provide a little more relief to the younger crowd, right? To younger Americans. Well, if this additional relief, this additional $10,000 in student debt forgiveness does provide relief, what this could potentially do is this could make people feel that they don't need to take on a second job. So there'll be more jobs available. Some will also just stop working and their family will go back to a single income household. Now, if this happens, then jobless rates could potentially increase. Now, why is this a problem? This is a problem because there's so many available jobs right now, and we need to fill those jobs in order to get our supply chain back on track, right? Again, but that is getting our supply chain back on track is highly dependent on China. We have to get more products in from China. We have to have shipping. Instead of it taking 14 to 21 days, it needs to take closer to 7 to 10 days. It needs to be quicker. But here's another thing that many are worried about. If we see that we have a weakening labor market, which means jobless rates are actually increasing, this is exactly what the Federal Reserve wants. The Federal Reserve is looking to help reduce the upward pressure on inflation. And the way that they can do that is by reducing wages or just getting rid of the job itself, because that would reduce wages. So one of the problems here is the Federal Reserve, they're saying they're not pushing for a recession. They just want to help bring down inflation. And the only way to bring down inflation, according to multiple reports, is to reduce wages. Now again, that's a problem. If we reduce wages in a time when we do have high inflation, it means we actually have less purchasing power, which means we can't go and buy the things that we are normally accustomed to buying. And the problem there is, yes, we would eventually go into a recession. So again, the Federal Reserve is going to do what they do. We're going to have to wait and see exactly what they say, see how many percentage points they are going to raise rates. Some are expecting it's going to be 50. Others say it'll be a 75 basis point rate hike. But again, we just have to wait and see. But the interesting part about this entire thing is the $10,000 in student debt forgiveness. That is potentially causing the labor market to weaken. Not get stronger, to weaken. So essentially what the Biden administration did is help the Federal Reserve out. So again, whether or not this actually works, we will have to wait and see because, well, we got some time. We don't know. We'll have to be patient, and we'll see what actually does come out of this. So, while we're talking about student debt forgiveness, though, let's address the question as to who actually qualifies for it and for how much. First, and you've probably seen the reports, is there's kind of two different things. Some are going to qualify for up to $10,000 in student debt forgiveness. Others are going to qualify for up to $20,000. So who would qualify for the $20,000? Well, this is for Pell Grants. If you have a Pell Grant and you make less than $125,000 per year as an individual, or $250,000 as a couple, married couple, then you are eligible to receive $2,000 in student debt forgiveness. Now, this amount of money is gonna the $125,000 or $250,000 income. This is gonna be based on either your 2020 tax return or your 2021, not 2022 yet. Right? 2020 or 2021 it can be either or. So as long as you qualify in one of those years, then yes, you can qualify for this. Now, who qualifies for the up to $10,000 in student loan forgiveness? Well, if you didn't receive a Pell Grant, then you can get, and you made less than $125,000 or $250,000 as a married couple, then you are eligible for up to $10,000 in student debt forgiveness. Now, what if you are a current student? This is a question I receive all the time, or I have over the past few weeks, as more and more people have been talking about it, is what if I'm currently enrolled in school? Well, you can still qualify for student debt forgiveness. That's the interesting part, is just because you are not making payments yet doesn't mean that you don't qualify. Okay? So, if your parents or you, depending on however you got the loan, if you guys qualify, then yes, you can get student debt forgiveness. Here's the only thing you need to know. Yesterday I received countless questions from people saying, so I don't qualify because, well, I don't have any student debt, but I've been thinking about going back to school. So if I'm thinking about going back to school, can I then go and get this student debt forgiven? Well, the answer is no. If you are not currently enrolled in school and you haven't been since before July 1st, because any debt has to have been originated before July 1st. If it is not, then you do not qualify. All right? So, if you're thinking about going out there and signing up for college and going to get a higher education, just understand that if you didn't already do this and the loan wasn't originated before July 1st, 2022, well, you're kind of out of luck because that's the cutoff date. All right? So, if you guys have any questions on any of this stuff as well, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Now, one of the things that I addressed the other day was an IRS announcement. Well, they have another one. According to the IRS, they say they're going to spend their $80 billion on many things. Yes, they're going to hire more IRS agents, and they're going to go and audit the wealthy, but that's eventually going to happen. It's going to take some time. Well, the IRS does have a plan, and they have a plan that they say they're going to put into place immediately. Their plan is they're going to hire customer service representatives. That's where they're going to start using their money. Now, the goal here is to just make it easier for the American people to get in touch with somebody from the IRS. According to recent reports, when a person would call, they'd have a 1 out of 10 chance of getting a hold of an IRS agent. Well, these new customer service representatives, they're being tasked with just answering the phones. That's it. They're not going to be processing, any type of, tax return. They're not going to be sending out mail. They won't be opening mail. All they will be doing is answering the phones. If you have a question regarding your taxes, they will be there to answer it. All right? Now, if you plan on calling today or tomorrow and try to get somebody on the phone, it's not going to happen. The goal is for these new customer service representatives to be active, but it's to be active for the 2023 filing season. So we still have April. So let's say February, March, April of 2023. So we still got 5 months. So there's 6 months. So don't think they're going to be on the phone today and tomorrow. They still have to hire them. Okay? So just keep that in mind. It is going to take some time. Now, I want to talk about a major shipping problem that's going on right now, because this isn't anything new. We've been seeing delays in shipping for quite some time. Now, first, companies, they're finding it very difficult to hire truckers, to hire drivers, to hire people working at docks. It's becoming very apparent that that's not the industry some people want to be in anymore. The second problem is that companies are having such a tough time moving inventory or even getting inventory that they're simply having to close down because their business model doesn't work if they're not getting inventory in from suppliers. They're not getting hired to move product. Now, in the past day, just out of Tennessee, 2 companies gave us some insight. First, we got Colonial Freight Systems out of Knoxville, Tennessee. They decided they're just going to close down after about 80 years in business. They're going to sell off their trucks. They're also going to sell off their entire database. We also know that that US Express, they're out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. They are actually going through their second round of layoffs in just the past 3 months. Now, the plan this time around is to cut about 10% of their office jobs. Now, according to the company's vice president, the purpose of this move is to help with restructuring. That's it. Now, they aren't the only companies out there that are doing this. And that's what's very troubling is there's many companies going through this exact same process. Some will eventually close. Others will go through these massive restructuring plans. They will lay off employees. And again, whether or not a company does do this or they don't, doesn't really matter. The truth is that every trucking company is starting to feel the impacts of our supply disruptions and the stresses that our ever-changing economy is putting them through. So we're going to see what happens. But the problem that many truckers have faced, and I've talked to many truckers, talked to many different shipping company owners as well, and the problem that everyone's having is because inflation's so high, gas prices went up so quickly that truckers needed to make more money. So they were getting bonuses. They were getting higher wages. The problem there was that was only going to be temporary because as prices started to come back down, inflation dropped. Hopefully we're starting to see some prices become more manageable. Then these companies want to pay less. Well, and you let me know if this is same with you as well. But let's say you're working your job, doesn't matter what it is, and your boss comes in and gives you an extra $200 a week. Perfect. You're excited, you're ecstatic, you're ready to go to work. But then they come in a couple weeks later or a month later and say, you know what? You've been doing an incredible job, but prices have fallen. Right? Gas prices are down. We don't feel we need to pay you that extra $200 per week, so we're actually going to pay you $200 less, right back to where you were. Guess what? That employee is not going to want to stick around. They're going to want to leave. And I've been seeing this. The writing's been on the wall for months, but we're now starting to see this actually happen. And as it does, I can guarantee you this. These employees are just going to leave. They're not going to stick around. And whether they go and find a job immediately or not, we don't know. We will look and see in the U.S. Jobless claims if there's more people that are starting to collect on unemployment. And if they do, it's good for the Federal Reserve, but it's also bad for the economy. So we're going to see what goes on moving forward. But as always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all latest news and updates again. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.